So I just really quick want to make a video. I was gonna do something else, but there's supposed to be severe thunderstorm warnings today. What I'm gonna do is just kind of tell you what some plans are that I have for the future. I'm gonna be making another video, I think Friday. Today is Wednesday. So I'm gonna start with the Jeep here. I'm gonna paint it. So I know that I think I've already discussed that. I'm not a fan of the color that I put on, I think last year.
So this here is something that I had sanded a whole bunch before. And I tried coated it like 4 or 5 different times. It's spreading, it's like from here, because it's underneath as well. So it's like from here to like over here. And what I'm gonna do is take my little Dremel and I will be cutting out the majority of it. So from here maybe to here, and obviously sanding the area around it. I just bought some like metal mesh that I'm gonna use to kind of give myself some structure, to use some Bondo, good old Bondo on, sand that and paint it. And I want to try to do that before I really start getting into prepping the Jeep. And I'm gonna use a different, I was gonna use some Rust-Oleum stuff, but I'm not gonna do that now just because I've been watching some other videos and some other stuff and it kind of changed my mind. Another thing is these rotors, these front rotors are, I guess they're horribly warped, and I'm getting a lot of vibration upon stopping. So that has to be done, and I'm just going to do the brakes while I'm at it because I have to take them off anyway to do the rotor. And another thing is this. I'm not really a fan of these headlights anymore. Planning on getting a new headlight, which just basically removes this whole bezel, this whole blinker setup here, and it's like a projector in the center with a little halo ring, and it just takes up this whole area here. And these I'm going to reroute to the bottom here because they're not up here. They're not really serving as, I wanted to use them as kind of like a fog light, so they're not really serving a purpose up here. And this one, man, those kids are having a horrible day. This one is just falling out, as you can see, so that's going to be done hopefully before painting all this stuff. Okay, this headliner is starting to fall off, so I'm gonna also redo the headliner, and I'm gonna do something neat up there. I'm not gonna just put a gray headliner up here too. You can see it's like falling off, so that'll be redone as well. And while I'm at it, if I have the money, I want to, so these right here, if you don't have a Jeep, if you're not familiar with Jeeps, these right here, this little lump and this little lump here, these are the rear speakers. So I have to pull them out to redo the headliner, so I'm probably gonna put new speakers in there. Oh, and this down here, this is a pan, a plastic pan, to catch all the water that's coming out of my dashboard, because when it rains, I think it's dripping down into here, into the cattle drain, the black cattle drain here, and there must be a crack or some sort of grommet must be loose in the firewall, and it's leaking down on the floor. And that's like a major problem with these cars. That's why the floor pans, I mean, it's not 100% why, but it's part of the reason why the floor pans start rotting out so early. I guess I shouldn't say early, because the car is like 23 years old and it's still not rotted out. But so the whole dash has to come off, everything from the front all the way to the other end. And I might be able to expose the firewall if I start taking all this crap out, and I could like seal it up with like seam sealer or some sort of like construction caulk or something wherever it's leaking, if I can find it. Other than that, this pan has been treating me nice. These taillights, I'm not going to switch them out, but what I do want to do is just turn this red to black and turn this orange to red. If I put enough coats of red on it, I think that might work. So that's the plan for this. And I don't know what the deal is with this lift kit, but the rear end is significantly lower than the front. I mean, maybe I might drop it, to be honest, like drop it to like a 3.5 inch, because it's a 4.5 inch, and that kind of starts to put stress on your steering components and your front end and stuff like that. And I don't have the supporting suspension for that, so I might just drop it like 3.5 inch, or not 3.5 inches, drop it to a 3.5 inch lift and get like a rough country lift, something that's, you know, good. This is kind of like an aftermarket, this is kind of like an off-brand lift kit, so it's not the best. This light bar is coming off because I got pulled over for it because it wasn't covered. I don't even have a fuse in it. It doesn't work. It doesn't light up, but I got pulled over for it. So I wrapped a garbage bag around it, and it's gonna be coming off because I don't even use it. I also want to do a bunch of stuff with the Subaru. So keep in mind, this is going to be over the course of like 3 years. So I'm definitely going to lower the car just to kind of fill in this little bit of wheel gap here. I'm going to lower the car for sure. And I would like to get carbon fiber front fenders, carbon fiber hood, and a carbon fiber trunk. And those are all obviously very expensive items. Like I said, this is going to take a very, very long time to complete and reach these goals. And I would also like to do some of the steering components, like the sway bars and the end links. I want to also upgrade to thicker ones. So I'm sure I had discussed prior that the motor for me it is done right now. I don't make the income to spend 15 grand to build it. I also would like to get a 6-speed STI transmission for it to kind of make it a little bit more reliable, because these are supposed to be like glass, and I've already went through one, and Subaru almost was like, "Oh, we're not going to pay for it." But at that point, I hadn't even had the car for 6,000 miles, and it had 68,000 when I bought it. So they didn't want to fix it, even though I paid for the warranty. The car it's not old. It didn't have a lot of miles on it, and I didn't treat it like shit. And 90% of the stuff that was on it, that is on it, was not on it before. So it was like bone stock with an axle back exhaust that the prior owner put on. And they were telling me that, like, you know, I like the transmission is my problem. So they paid for it. Besides my deductible, I had to put $500 down for them to fix it. But they paid for it. And finally, my girlfriend and I had discussed that the exposure on this camera is horrible. That's not what we discussed, but we had recently discussed getting a project car. She said that ever since I put the wheels on my Subaru, she's really wanted to she's been really interested in doing something like that. So her and I are going to spend like maybe $2,000 on, check out my dog, like maybe $2,000 on a maybe like a 2003 Golf, like a GTI or something, and just like slamming it and putting some really nice big wheels on it, and maybe do some cool stuff with the headlights and painting or wrapping or something, just like simple things, just to make it look nice. And I don't need it to be a billion horsepower and go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. I don't desire any of that at this point. So that's the plan. Project car and the Jeep and all the stuff with the Subaru, and that's all gonna, like I said, take place in over the course of a couple of years. So that's, I mean, I still trying to make some regular content here for you. This I still want to do the review on, so that will come. I'm trying to have a second guy shoot it with me so I can have 2 cameras running at a time, so it's a little easier and it looks a little better, and I don't have to keep getting in and out of the car to move my camera around and stuff, because that it would just be faster and easier. I am going to make a separate video of that Bondo work on the Jeep, and you'll see how much I suck or how much I succeed. I'm also going to make a video on this maybe Friday, if it's, well, I mean, it'll be in the garage, so I don't know. But I'm going to make a video on this really soon. I have to do some very minor work on the car. Shouldn't be a long video at all, and shouldn't be a hard process in any way possible. And I'll explain it while I'm doing it, but video for this and video for the Jeep, some things that I actually have to do that are definitely going to come. But the other stuff is more or less wants and plans. Hey, Frank. All right, my dog needs some water, and I'm going to end that here, just talking about what I want to do and what's to come. Come on, dude.